When you eat your food, it's often important to realize what happens. Basically, we eat food that is not just one thing. Food is complex. That means that there are different components to the food. You have your carbohydrates, which will be your energy and the fuel that you need to keep you going. You have your protein, and the protein is important because it's for growth, for development, for muscles and things like that. And then, of course, you have fat plays important roles in your body. For example, there's the fat soluble vitamins that will only need fat for them to be able to be solubilized. These are the vitamin A, the vitamin D, and the vitamin A and vitamin K. When you eat your food, what happens is that the food has to be broken down into different micromolecules or small molecules that can be absorbed in the body. Once it gets through the body, you get what is called the energy. The energy is what will power the different metabolic or physiological pathways in your body. When you have your calories, you must have heard, or you will have heard people say, not all calories are equal. That's true because, for example, you may want to eat today, or you're going to be eating today, let's say 100 grams of a given meal. 100 grams of chicken breast will not be the same calories as 100 grams of, let's say, cucumbers. 100 grams of oats will not be the same calories as 100 grams of a pizza. When you're trying to eat your food, in particular if you're trying to lose weight, the most important thing to think about is the calories in and the calories out. You need, as I've always emphasized, that energy balance. So to be able to balance your calories well, you may want to begin by starting to ask yourself, the calories that I eat, where do they come from? Again, when you're balancing for a balanced, healthy plate, always think of balancing the macronutrients as the fats, the proteins, the carbohydrates, balancing them with the micronutrients. Those are the things that we need in smaller quantities compared to macros, which are big quantities. And then asking yourself, with these micronutrients, of course, they will power things like various physiological happenings around the body, because you need them just in small quantities to make a massive difference. And so going back into where do we get our calories from, I've said that is from the food that you eat. The food will get broken down, and once it's broken down, it's going to be powering the different pathways that you need around your body. And so the first and most important thing to think about when it comes to calories is making healthy, conscious decisions that will help you. For example, say openly, I do not drink calories. I eat calories. And that means that you will not find me drinking empty calories. So things like soda, things like juices, those are things that juice can still be nutritional value, have nutritional value. But if you're having lots of sugar, then you're thinking, am I drinking my calories or am I eating my calories? The other thing to think about as well when it comes to the calories is things like alcohol. Alcohol can easily have a lot of calories and it may not have any significant health value for you. When it comes to things like, if you want to gain weight, think about, for example, those things that are dense in calories but also dense in nutritional value, so that at the end of the day you are able to eat more healthily while you're gaining weight. If you want to lose weight, think about things that will put you into calorie deficit rather than being in a calorie surplus, which means you end up storing weight or gaining weight. And so one of the things that you can think about, for example, when you're trying to understand the differences in the calories is, number one, if you're buying something, look at the label. That will be a first place to start to see what's the nutritional label telling me about the products that I'm buying. If I'm having, for example, again, the way you prepare your food will really determine or impact the calorific content of the value. For example, if you have food, you have egg, if you fry your egg, the calorific content content of that egg will be different from boiling an egg. So the preparation matters a lot. Of course, once you have the different foods, trying to balance them, as I said, trying to think of healthy swaps, things that you can eat. For example, you can eat brown rice rather than white rice, which will have a better glycemic index, help you feel fuller for longer, but also will provide you with fiber, also will help you with various different metabolic processes that are needed. And so today, just to remind you guys, the calories are not the same. Let nobody deceive you. Of 50 grams of food, think of it in terms of the calories that you're having on that plate will be very different depending on how your plate looks. A healthy plate, I've talked about this before, could be things like an Eat Well guide, which will help you to know, does it have my fruits and vegetables in there? They tend to have a lower calorific value. Fruits in particular, you might be worried about it because, again, if you have things like bananas, they are high in sugar. Some of these foods, once you start having processed food, they will have more calories in them. And sometimes more calories does not necessarily equals to more nutritional value. So thinking of more filling my plate with grains, filling my plate with, for example, if you eat 100 grams of chicken breast, it's going to fill you more and it's going to be useful more than eating 100 grams of a pizza or McDonald's. Being able to make healthy, conscious decisions will really be helpful for you to be able to be healthy, really, because in this place we are big on total wellness. We are big on being healthy and looking after our bodies, which is the temple that holds or carries our spirit man. Because we say, if you're not existing in this body, equals to death. So you're not going to be here. So next time you're thinking about anything you're eating, don't just think about the quantity of what you're thinking, but think about what calorific value is it giving you. When it comes to the nutrients, what is it going to be? You're better off having nutritional density rather than having calorific density, if that makes sense.